November 13th, 2022. Moscow, Idaho, 3 a.m. Outside, silence. Inside, a countdown begins. Cameras capture a white Hyundai Elantra circling the King Road neighborhood again and again. At the same time, one phone goes dark, completely off from 2:47 to 4:48 a.m. Before and after that window, it pings along the Moscow-Pullman corridor. And by morning, a Ka bar knife sheath left behind in a bedroom. On it, a single male DNA profile. Genetic genealogy links it to family samples. A direct swab confirms the match. That same night, 4 young students were killed: Madison, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan. Investigators focused on one suspect, Bryan Kohberger, a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. One witness described, he wore black, his face covered, and he had bushy eyebrows. The Elantra's route, the silent phone, the DNA on the sheath, 3 clues converging in one night. But here's the question. Is the story really that simple? This is True Records of Crime. Subscribe now, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see this case. Case summary and background. In the early hours of November 13th, 2022, 4 Idaho University students, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were stabbed to death at the 1122 King Road house in Moscow, Idaho. This wasn't just a tragedy. It was one of America's most shocking university murders in recent years. The investigation focused on Bryan Kohberger, a criminology doctoral student at Washington State University. This file shows how modern forensic techniques like DNA genealogy matching, security camera analysis, white Hyundai Elantra routing, and phone data patterns came together. Victims: 4 young lives. Madison Mogen, 21 years old. Madison Mogen was a senior marketing student at Idaho University. Her friends knew her for her positive energy and smile. That night, she was spending time with her roommate Kaylee at the 1122 King Road house. The two were close friends and often hung out together. Kaylee Goncalves, 21 years old. Kaylee Goncalves was a senior student in general business. She was planning to move to Texas after graduation. She was born in Rathdrum, Idaho. She was very close to her family and loved her dog, Murphy. Kaylee had come to Moscow for the last time that weekend, saying goodbye to her friends. Zana Kernodle, 20 years old. Zana Kernodle was a marketing and information systems student. She came from Post Falls, Idaho. She was a sorority member and had an active social life on campus. Her friends described her as energetic and cheerful. That night she was at home with her boyfriend Ethan. Ethan Chapin, 20 years old. Ethan Chapin was a recreation, sports, and tourism student. He came from Conway, Washington. He was a member of an Idaho University fraternity. His friends knew him as loyal and trustworthy. That night he had come to visit Zana. He normally didn't live in this house but had decided to stay that night. The night of the incident, November 13th, 2022. November 13th, 2022, Saturday night. Idaho University students were focused on weekend fun. 6 students lived in the 3-story rental house at 1122 King Road. Madison, Kaylee, Zana. That night, Madison and Kaylee had spent time at a downtown bar, returning home late. Zana and Ethan were having a quiet evening at home. The 2 roommates on the lower floor were also home, but lived on different floors. Around 4 a.m., the horrific incident occurred. According to investigation reports, the attacker had probably entered through a sliding door on the 2nd floor. The exact sequence of the attack isn't entirely clear. Victims were on the 3rd and 2nd floors. Madison and Kaylee on the 3rd floor were attacked while sleeping. There were signs of struggle in Zana and Ethan's room on the 2nd floor. Forensic reports indicated that some victims had defensive wounds. The 2 roommates on the lower floor were in the house during the attack, but were unharmed. They either didn't notice the incident or perceived the sounds as normal house noises. The attacker left the house, left behind 4 dead students. Discovery and initial investigation. November the 13th, 2022, between 11:56 and 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was made.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something's happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Hi,
and are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Bethany, we gotta go check. But we have to. Is she passed out? What's wrong? She's not waking up.
Okay. One moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay. Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you.
One of the roommates called police. There's a problem in the house. My friends aren't responding. The first responding officers were met with a horrific scene. 4 young students were dead. All had been stabbed. Moscow Police Department immediately declared the area a crime scene. The FBI and Idaho State Police were called in. Initial examinations revealed no signs of forced entry, probable entry through /side sliding door. The attacker seemed to know the house. A large fixed blade knife had been used. It appeared to be a targeted attack. But the most important clue was found at the crime scene. A knife sheath. Critical evidence, knife sheath and DNA. The most important evidence found at the crime scene was a knife sheath discovered next to Madison's bed. Forensic analysis of the KABAR type sheath at the scene yielded a single-source male DNA profile. Genealogy matching with family father DNA showed possible connection. Subsequently obtained direct buccal swab sample matched the DNA on the sheath. This is considered one of the strongest pieces of evidence in the file. This DNA sample became central to the investigation because no matches were found in CODIS, National DNA Database, searches. The killer was someone who had never been arrested before. Laboratory teams had obtained a perfect sample. When the killer was found, a definitive match could be made. Vehicle tracking and security cameras. Investigators began examining security cameras in the area on the night of the incident and before. Camera examinations detected a white Hyundai Elantra circulating in the area around the time of the incident. Initial model range was reported as 2011 to 2013. The suspect's vehicle was a 2015 Elantra. This inconsistency was resolved with sub-indicators like license plate/trim/light clusters, and the vehicle remained on the suspect list. So is this match enough by itself? We'll soon see how phone silence became a key piece. Vehicle profile was entered into FBI's national database. All vehicles with similar characteristics began to be searched. At the same time, universities in surrounding states were also checked. Student and staff lists owning this type of vehicle were examined. Phone data and digital traces. Investigators analyzed the data of all cell phones in the area on the night of the incident. According to the probable cause affidavit, PCA, The suspect's phone was off, inactive for approximately 2:47 to 4:48 on the night of the incident. Analysis showed that the device gave signals on the Moscow-Pullman route before and after this window. This phone data provided a critical clue. Consciously turning off the phone was evaluated as behavior aimed at not leaving evidence. But the signals before and after showed that he knew the area. Identifying the suspect. By December 2022, investigators had begun combining vehicle and DNA clues. The white Hyundai Elantra search extended to Washington State University because it was the largest university closest to Moscow. When WSU records were searched, an important name emerged: Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Kohberger's profile was notable. 28 years old, criminology doctoral student, owner of a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra, living in Pullman, 15 kilometers from Moscow. But what really raised suspicion was this. According to reports reflected in the media, Kohberger had changed his car's license plates after November. When details were investigated, more suspicious elements emerged. Bryan Kohberger. Suspect's portrait. Bryan Christopher Kohberger was born on November 28, 1994, in Pennsylvania. He received his undergraduate education at DeSales University, studying criminology and psychology. He chose Washington State University for graduate education. Kohberger's academic focus area was violent crimes. He researched serial killers and murder motives. His professors described him as intelligent but introverted. His social skills were limited, but more disturbing details began to emerge. When Kohberger's online activities were examined, it was seen that his interest in crime cases exceeded the academic framework. He had participated in surveys and forum activities as part of criminology research during his DeSales University period. According to prosecution claims, he had asked detailed questions about perpetrator emotional states and crime psychology in these activities. He was also active on Reddit crime forums. He discussed real murder cases. This online activity was evaluated as indicating a personal obsession beyond academic interest. Arrest process. By the last weeks of December 2022, the FBI and Idaho police had targeted Kohberger, but the arrest operation seemed risky. Kohberger had gone to Pennsylvania to visit his family. On December 30, 2022, in the early morning hours, Pennsylvania State Police surrounded Kohberger's family home. Kohberger showed no resistance. He surrendered calmly. The arrest warrant included these charges: 4 first-degree murders, 1 felony burglary. Kohberger was extradited to Idaho in January 2023. He remained silent in his first court hearing. His lawyers emphasized the presumption of innocence. Evidence analysis and forensics. DNA matching Idaho laboratories sought legal ways to test Kohberger's DNA. A trash sample was taken from Kohberger's family environment in Pennsylvania. DNA obtained from this sample was compared with DNA on the knife sheath. The result was positive. The probability ratio was 1 in billions. This DNA match became the strongest evidence in the case. Vehicle and route analysis. Kohberger's 2015 white Hyundai Elantra was examined in detail. When security camera footage was analyzed, the vehicle had made multiple passes in the area. This data suggested that Kohberger might have previously scouted the area. Phone data. When Kohberger's phone records were analyzed, a suspicious pattern emerged. Normal days, phone constantly active, normal message and call traffic, night of incident, phone off or inactive between 2:47 to 4:48 before-after incident, giving signals in the area. This pattern was the classic method used by criminals to avoid leaving evidence. Court process and legal developments, indictment and charges. In May 2023, the grand jury approved the indictment. 4 first-degree murders: Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, 1 felony burglary. The prosecution announced it would seek the death penalty. Gag order. The judge issued a gag order. Parties could not speak to the media. Due to intense public interest, the court restricted communication throughout the process to maintain file integrity. Fair trial discussions. Venue change was discussed due to fair trial concerns. Moscow was a small town. Everyone knew about this case. Finding an impartial jury would be difficult. Ongoing pretrial arguments. Comprehensive pretrial discussions were held in spring and summer 2025. Witness testimony dispute. According to PCA, the surviving roommate stated she saw a black-clad, face-covered male with bushy eyebrows in the house that night. This statement remains in the file, despite objections. 911 audio recording. The prosecution wanted to present the 911 call recording as evidence. The defense objected. Neurodevelopmental assessments. Within the scope of the defense's assessment requests, the effect of neurodevelopmental factors in the sentencing process was discussed. Digital evidence and online activities. According to prosecution claims, online history includes research on knife types and tactical equipment. This point has not been finalized as publicly available definitive evidence. It will be tested through the hearing process. According to some claims reflected in the press, a selfie taken on the morning of the incident was also alleged to have been found. However, since this was not officially confirmed, it is marked as a claim in this video. Social media activity. Kohberger's social media accounts were examined. His LinkedIn profile showed he focused on criminology research. On Reddit, he was active in crime forums, particularly on these topics: perfect crime theories, police investigation methods, avoiding DNA evidence, digital footprint avoidance techniques. This activity indicated a personal obsession beyond academic interest. Psychological profile and motive. According to some expert comments, the following characteristics have been suggested: social isolation tendency, focus on academic performance, detail-oriented thinking structure. No official clinical diagnosis was disclosed in court records. Motive theories. Hypotheses discussed by experts were: Theory 1, social isolation. Kohberger may have experienced social exclusion in his academic environment. Theory 2, academic obsession. During criminology studies, a desire to put theoretical knowledge into practice may have developed. Theory 3, need for control. Due to psychological factors, he may have wanted absolute control over others. No clear motivation explanation was made in court. These hypotheses represent expert evaluations. Social impact and media. The Idaho murders created a major shock in America. University security. Idaho University increased security measures. Campus police numbers doubled. Emergency systems were renewed. Student safety training began. Media interest. The case became the focus of national media. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC constantly reported. Conspiracy theories emerged on TikTok. True crime podcasters analyzed the case. This attention was sometimes helpful, sometimes harmful. House demolition. On December 28, 2023, the house at 1122 King Road was demolished. Idaho University made this decision for these reasons: respect and healing process, evidence collection was completed, public safety and privacy concerns. The house demolition created controversy in the community. Some argued it should be preserved historically, but the families supported the demolition decision. We want to erase the painful memories, they said. Lessons from the case. Forensic science, the power of genealogical DNA analysis in the chain of evidence. The decisive role of digital tracking, phone data, camera footage. The importance of timestamps on security cameras during the incident security measures. Strengthening security protocols in university campuses. Alarm systems and emergency mechanisms in student housing. Increasing nighttime security awareness throughout the entire student community. Current status and future charges and conviction. On July 2, 2025, Bryan Kohberger admitted to 4 murders and 1 burglary charge, entering into a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. On July 23, 2025, He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without parole and an additional 10 years for burglary. He was also ordered to pay $270,000 in restitution. Prison and location. Kohberger is currently held in an isolated cell at Idaho Maximum Security Institution under heavy surveillance and ongoing psychological evaluations. Psychological assessment. In February 2025, he was diagnosed with autism, level 1, OCD, ADHD, and ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. However, the court ruled that these conditions did not mean mental incapacity at the time of committing the crimes. Public reaction. Most of the families considered the decision as justice being served. However, some viewed it as incomplete justice, since the plea deal avoided a trial and left the motive unexplained. In the academic community, crisis awareness, evaluation systems, and ethical boundaries began to be debated again. The Idaho University Murders demonstrated the power of modern forensic science technologies and digital tracking in full detail. The investigation became a vivid example of how elements such as DNA genealogy, camera data, and phone records can be used together. Kohberger, through the accepted charges, escaped the death penalty but was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. While the families still suffer from their loss, the implementation of justice brought some consolation to certain groups. This case taught us security measures must be considered not only physically but also digitally and academically as a whole. The contribution of digital data to the justice process is undeniable. Justice may be completed. However, society, the victims, and academia continue to confront the trauma. Which evidence did you find the most striking in this case? A. The DNA on the Ka bar sheath. B. The Elantra's surveillance route. C. The phone silence between 2:47 to 4:48. D. The digital text database records. Share your answer in the comments. I will pin the most remarkable ones. Subscribe to the True Records of Crime channel, like the video, and turn on notifications because the next case may be even darker. Madison, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan, in their memory.